people deluded. Now, I've got a lot, but not much to say. We know Mislintat's left the club. We know Ivan Gazidis has left the club. We know Sanllehi's come into the club. There's a lot of question marks in regards to the club. Who's doing what? What's happening? Are people pulling their weight? Are they not pulling their weight? It was Mislintat who was disruptive. No, the club didn't want to do what he wanted. Raul Sanllehi's the one who's messing about. No, he's the one who's sick. We'll never know, but it's great talking points and short of it for fans. Now, if we just speculate, obviously, we know Sanllehi's in charge and that he's a senior figure, and you're looking at it now. Obviously, there's him and Vinal and stuff like that, but who do they answer to directly? It's probably Kroenke. There's no other superior for them. And I think Raul's won the game of power now, or the battle, or the immediate fight for power in that. If you look at the three-man board or three-man team that was judged in charge of finding Arsene Wenger's replacement, 2 of them are gone. Now, we'll add some context. We know Ivan Gazidis was going to skate off. In hindsight, seeing the mess that is now at the club, he wanted to avoid it one last time, and we knew he was going to AC Milan. Mislintat's one's a bit more concerning because that came out of the blue. People thought it was fake news at first. Now, if 2 of the 3 have gone and there's one person there now, has he not won the position of power? Now, if we look at them, they're 3 men from 3 different walks of life, 3 different expertise. One's a scout, obviously. One's more of a lawyer or whatever Ivan Gazidis is, and you already know Raul Sanllehi's. 3 different, probably, well, they're similar. Well, Ivan and Fing are similar ages, but 3 completely different individuals, probably 3 different outlooks on football. Raul, you seen what the sort of players he's used to signing. Mislintat, he's probably looked for some experienced players, but he wants these young players or whatever. So clearly there's been a disagreement between him and Sanllehi immediately in regards to probably transfers or the sort of strategy, or has Mislintat been suggesting things, not even in terms of directly scouting players, improvements or whatever, and it's just not happening for him. If you look at Ivan Gazidis, the offer was there for Aaron Ramsey to renew the club. That was a Gazidis offer. It's been pulled because Sanllehi or whoever doesn't deem it financially prudent. Obviously, ultimately, Gazidis was in charge of whether he wanted it or not. Mesut Ozil being here, not to belittle Mesut, because you guys know I love him, but he was here when he signed that big contract. Raul Sanllehi's come to the club and Unai Emery, and at first it looked like he was going to be key, but now you're seeing him actively forced out of the club. So Raul Sanllehi's clearly won the battle of power, and to me, I'll never know as a fan, and I don't know if I agree with it or disagree with it, because to me, a part of me feels, I wouldn't say blind faith, but there's a plan going on that I don't know about, or clearly we don't know about, but you can't really make sense of it in that you're seeing the strategy in regards to, again, I'm not saying Denis Suarez is the answer, but in terms of, it seems like Unai Emery, we know he's happy to work under certain constraints, and Raul Sanllehi's got a yes man in essentially that. I'm not saying Unai Emery doesn't disagree with targets, but he's got his lieutenant in that. You see the Suarez one and these sort of Spanish players or players that are based in La Liga that we're being linked with. Maybe Raul Sanllehi and Unai Emery are more in agreement and more aligned in terms of strategy and them things there than Mislintat and himself or Ivan Gazidis. This makes it easier for him, sort of thing. And obviously, you seen with, if we just look at some of Unai Emery's decisions, or what appears to be it, which could be backed up by the club in terms of saving money. Ramsey's now gone. Ozil looks to be pushed out. Whether you wanted Jack Wilshere to stay or not, he said he wouldn't be getting football under this manager, and he did want to play for less money, but ultimately he wasn't deemed good enough or whatever. Jeffrey Adley was moved on. Chesney's case is a bit different, but there was obviously Chesney, so they're freeing up players and things like that. Obviously, I don't necessarily agree with what they're doing with Ozil and several players, but then I have to be not honest with myself, but you guys know I look at things from multiple perspectives, and I say, all right, DG, you might not agree with this, but why do you not agree with it? And then I have my sporting reasons as to why I don't agree with it. And then I look at it, okay, cool. You need to remember that you like Mesut Ozil, so there's a amount of attachment there. When you remove your attachment from Mesut Ozil, possibly from Ramsey and things like that, and again, I still didn't believe I'm wrong in terms of replacements, but could this necessarily be a bad thing? I'd like definitely Mesut Ozil and Ramsey to stay, but part of me believes there's a plan that you don't know what's happening. Now, I'm not suggesting there's some mythical plan these lads are up to that we don't know about, and 18 months from now we're going to be winning Prems and all of these things, and I'm not saying none of that. I'm just, obviously we'll not know the plan, but I'm sure you guys by now guess what I'm getting at, because it just seems like Raul Sanllehi has now won the position of power, because in theory the structure should have worked perfectly, and Unai Emery's there. Raul Sanllehi and what's his name, Vinal's there. You've obviously got Mislintat and Unai in their respective positions. Unai Emery says, I need this player. Mislintat goes and identifies players that could save us peas. The guys at the top go and get it done. Now, in theory, that sounds great, and it probably did work. But then, in reality, 3 different men, 3 different personalities from 3 different walks of life, essentially, and 3 different ways of doing things. Mislintat might have wanted X player, they want A, or he wants B, or he wants Z, or Unai Emery and Raul are in agreement with that player to sign that player. But Mislintat's seen his targets not be signed at the expense of signing that player. Mislintat suggesting players that they don't necessarily believe in, causing him to be disheartened. Mislintat possibly signing players that Unai Emery doesn't really necessarily rate and things like that. We can't rule anything out. So in theory, while it sounds good, in reality, you need to remember this is a place of work. Everybody's got their own positions of power, their own goals they want to achieve, and their own self-interest. So I'm not saying Raul has no one to contest him and things like that, but I'm saying, has he possibly won the right now to shape the club in his image or how he deems it? I don't know. I'm just a fan speculating in my bedroom, so we'll see, people. But in regards to that, I got nothing more to say. So people, deluded, comment, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out.